Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Sorry for those who are watching live, a little bit late I know, but James Rodriguez to Manchester United is what we're going to start off with tonight. A little bit about Lukaku, a little bit about Manchester United. They really are trolling us. There was a tweet put out on the United Stand this morning saying when there's a big gap between tweets, it normally means there's going to be a signing, and United within seconds tweeted something out. It's almost like they follow us. But again, there's nothing coming through. What I would say, in LA, it's around 1 o'clock around midday in LA at the moment. So he is in LA. So maybe it'll get. We have announced signings late at night before. It could happen. It's got to happen at some point. So we'll see what happens with that. A few things that I just want to talk about very, very quickly. Also, I was a bit late as well because I had to change my top. I was wearing my work shirt, which is a checked shirt. You wouldn't appreciate that on the eye. So I had nothing on. You know, you think Lukaku's got a good body. You want to see what's under here. No, that would have given you nightmares. But so I was a bit late about that. But in all seriousness, there is a shout out that I've got to do. I mean, I don't do the Twitter account anymore. But I got this today. It was sent through to me from at Andy Red Devil. He said that his wife's currently going through chemotherapy and every day is a new challenge, but she never misses a live show and she thinks Mark is hilarious and she won't let anything get the better of her, including me. So a shout out to you, Debbie, really. I hope you get well soon. From everybody at the United Stand, I'm sure we'll share that. And apparently you want a shirt. So your cheek, you haven't lost that. Ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. That's what my granddad always said. I'm sure we can sort a shirt out for you, and I hope that you do get better very, very soon. Obviously, sad news in relation to young Bradley Lowry, the Sunderland fan, you know, the one with the Jermaine Defoe pictures and everything like that. Very, very sad. Very, very sad on any level, but I can only imagine. I don't want to imagine, actually, because that's how bad it is. That if you've got kids yourself, it's just horrible. That shouldn't happen. And shout out to Marcus as well, Mad Marcus, off our live comments. Not to disclose what's happened to him, but I hope that gets sorted out soon as well, pal. But crack on with the show. The show must go on. So thanks everybody for watching, and let's get into it. The United Stand is on, it's live, it's Friday night, and James Rodriguez is back on the agenda. So let's talk about James Rodriguez to Manchester United. Now, Rooney's going to go. Rooney's going to go. We went live with that on Wednesday night. He is going to go. I'm totally convinced by that. It's the right move for him. It's the right move for us. And the number 10 becomes free. I've heard some people saying today, should Lukaku get the number 10 shirt? I don't think he should. I think give him the number 9. Number 10 is quite an important shirt. It's not number 7, but give him the number 9. Number 10 then is left for, hopefully, a number 10 to come and sign for United. And James Rodriguez would fit that bill. A lot of United fans would love James Rodriguez at Manchester United. And I wouldn't mind it either. But I've got to say that a bit like a Liverpool title challenge, this news is a bit premature. We know what's happened with Morata and Real Madrid. Why do we think that we can just go and get James Rodriguez from Real Madrid? I mean, they'll even be more angry with us now than they were before. Rodriguez has got to force this move. As I said about Morata, I do feel sorry for him, but he needed to hand a transfer request in, and then the price comes crashing down. So James Rodriguez, if he wants to come to United, he needs to hand a transfer request in. Would I welcome him at Manchester United? Now Rooney's gone. I think he's a far better number 10 than Rooney. He'll be 26 very, very soon, but he's a very, very good player. He lacks a bit of pace, but he's not slow. He's got a wand of a left foot, as we all know. And I think he's at that right age where he could come to United and totally rejuvenate his career. Let's not forget, he's actually younger than Antoine Griezmann. And I think there's this myth around Rodriguez that he's a bit of a flop and, you know, he's past it, this, that and the other. He's a star waiting to happen. The interesting thing is, Chelsea could sign Rodriguez and Morata this summer. And I think that would be terrifying for somebody who was already the champions. To bring those two in will greatly enhance them. And I'm not knocking Lukaku by any means, but I would have been more than happy with Morata coming, and I'd be more than happy with Rodriguez. But we don't really know what's going on with Manchester United. I think the one of the positives about the Lukaku deal is that nobody had a clue that was going to happen. I've heard today that we might be back in for Eric Dyer, which he's been mentioned quite a lot. If Mourinho wants Eric Dyer at Manchester United, then I would back it. I don't really want him, but I'd prefer him over Matic, simply because he's younger and I think he's more mobile, and Matic is not very mobile, and that's my big problem with him. So Eric Dyer to United, he'd probably cost us quite a lot of money, but I do agree with the person who just said there that we're going to struggle to get anybody out of Real Madrid, and Shaswat's on about Gareth Bale. And the Illuminati says we won't get anyone from Real Madrid after De Gea and Morata. I've treated this out before as well. I don't know what anybody thinks about this, but let's not forget that at this moment in time, at this very minute in time, if you're watching it live with me at the moment, Manchester United have only signed one player. Now, a week ago, regardless of the fact that Rooney's leaving and Lukaku for the last 3 days now has been big news, a week ago, if we'd said in a week's time we've still only signed one player, I think we would have all been envisaging major meltdown City. Well, we're in that position now, and I think there's so many smoke screens at the moment, or proposed smoke screens, that you can't see for smoke. Was Morata a smoke screen for Lukaku? Is Perisic a smoke screen for somebody else? Is Lukaku a smoke screen for the fact that we've not signed anybody yet? You know, there's loads of interpretations. The reality is we're back in pre-season starts tomorrow for Manchester United, and then they're off to USA on Sunday, as I believe. Lukaku and Pogba are in LA, so it's possible and highly likely that Lukaku will be unveiled any minute, maybe tomorrow. Everton weren't happy that he didn't go back to pre-season yesterday. He's clearly going to be a Manchester United player. So we should have 2 signings by the end of this weekend in Lindelof and Lukaku. But we're still only 50% there if you believe we're only going to sign 4 players. I think we might sign more than that. So I think next week becomes a big week again, because we haven't got to play LA Galaxy till a week tomorrow. But we need to get some business done. And I know everyone says you can sign people on the tour, but I'm sure everybody who watches the United Stand has heard me say this a lot over the last week. Of course you can sign players on the tour, but Manchester United are not the only bloody team on tour in America. It's not like all our targets are just sunning it up waiting for a phone call. They're back in pre-season training themselves. They're off on tour themselves. And that makes it infinitely harder, because most clubs don't really want to be doing business while they're on tour, especially when they've got players they don't want to sell. They'll just be like, well, we're on tour, we'll talk about it when you come back. So there's a big chance that after this Lukaku signing, we may not get any of our other signings till the end of the month. And I hope that's not the case, but it means next week's very, very important. Who we're in for is very exciting, I've got to say. I don't know who we're in for. If you'd asked me last night, I would have said hopefully Nainggolan and Fabinho. If you're asking me tonight, I think Eric Dyer, that Dortmund lad that I mentioned on the transfer show this morning, Weigl, and but I don't know. I don't know. We need to get this Lukaku deal done, and I suspect that's taking all our efforts. But once that's done, we need to crack on. I mean, Lukaku is important, but I would argue that the most important signing for United this summer is the centre defensive midfield position. Who is it? When is it going to happen? And can we crack on with it, please? Because Lukaku banging a few goals in the US tour is all well and good, and we'll enjoy that. But actually, implementing this centre defensive midfielder into our team is probably the most important part of that tour. This is the man who's going to shield the back four, protect the midfield so that they can attack, feed the midfield. It's a very, very important position, and it just can't be. I don't care what anybody says. Our midfield next season cannot be Pogba, Herrera, Fellaini and Carrick and Fosu Mensah. We won't win anything. We won't. It was the same as last year. We need to free Pogba, and Herrera can't do that on his own. So, yeah, interesting. I do think there's going to be developments, by the way, in relation to people leaving Manchester United. A few people on in the live comments about that. Who it will be, I don't know. But yeah, AMH Gaming says Phil Neville trolling us. And why he would want to troll Manchester United fans, I don't know. But if you're not aware of this, he put an Instagram post out of Lukaku in the new Manchester United top, which is the most clearly photoshopped picture, if you've got a brain, in the world, because the neck isn't big enough and the body is that of me, and Lukaku's about 5 times bigger than me. It's not literally me, it's Paul Pogba's body, but it's a slim line figure on Lukaku's head, and to the untrained eye maybe it looks like him. I think Phil Neville's now backtracking and pretending that he's trolling, but why would you would never do that. You would never do that. He's thought that's a real picture and he's put it out on Instagram thinking, oh look, I've got a scoop. And then he's realised, because he's been told, that it's not real, so he's pretending that he's trolling. You don't troll your own fans, not in a delicate situation like this where we're all pretty much on tenterhooks about when the next signing's going to be, and there's rumours that Chelsea might nick him at the last minute. The last thing you do as an ex-Manchester United great is troll your own fans. He thought that was genuine, and it's not. It's photoshopped. I'm sure there will be a genuine photo very soon, but that is not Lukaku's body, never in a million years. Cannot wait for the Super Cup now. Going to smash it, says Jilly MUFC. Big shout out to Gareth, says Eva Biggin. And Lukaku hasn't signed and Rodriguez won't, says Josh Sharp. Stating the obvious, some might say. United fans saying, why did Phil Neville do that? I think he just, whatever, let him crack on. I think he just made a mistake. I think he thought it was genuine. Chelsea have matched Manchester United's offer, according to Chelsea spokesman Matt Law. Well, that is interesting because I said last night that I actually believe that Lukaku's first choice was Chelsea, and I think United have moved this deal very quickly in the week, which is very interesting. But I don't really see. I'm just having a quick look. Apparently Chelsea have been linked with Benteke, which is very, very funny. I just want to see if there's anything in this Chelsea bid. Well, it's from Matt Law. This is true. So this is from Matt Law in the Telegraph, who I think was one of the people who broke Lukaku anyway. He says that Chelsea have made a stunning offer to match Manchester United's bid for Romelu Lukaku in a bid to wrestle him back to Stamford Bridge, but Chelsea will not match the agent fees of Mini Raiola, leaving the striker with a tough decision to make. Lukaku must now decide whether to go with the 75 million move to United that had been set up by Raiola, or effectively go against his agent to rejoin Chelsea. It is understood that Chelsea still believe that Lukaku would rather come back, and therefore they've made the bid. And United are still confident of completing a deal for Lukaku in time for him to join up with the squad on the US tour. I still believe he'll come to Manchester United, but if it did fall apart, then as I was saying to you before, I think we would be very, very clear that our transfer window, which, you know what, I think the transfer window will end up being fine. But as I've said all week, I'm not going to lie and say that we're not in a bit of a mess. Mourinho would have wanted all his signings done by now. We've got one. I think at the start of the week we wanted Morata. We quite rightly got frustrated and walked away from Real Madrid and chucked a load of money at our old friend Raiola to get Lukaku. And it looks like a masterstroke. But if it went wrong because Chelsea nicked him at the last minute, then we would have to face up to the fact that this transfer window has been a disaster. I think we'll get Lukaku though, I really do. And I think one thing that Lukaku may have wanted Chelsea before, but what he's seen and will have seen on social media, the reaction to Lukaku from Manchester United fans, he'd have to be a real mercenary and really love London to want to go to Chelsea when he could have what he's going to get at United. And collectively, I think most Manchester United fans, whether they've got their doubts or not, have really bought into the Lukaku signing and are excited to see it. And, you know, like I say, you'd have to be an absolute idiot to walk away from what will be a good reception for him at United and a great platform. David Owen wants us to strengthen our midfield with Dyer and Barkley. Who could be our next signing, says Shaswat. I don't know. Matthew Holohan says, I would love it all to fall apart. £70 million is a joke. I suppose some people might think that. Honestly, would I like it to fall apart? You know what? No. I think if you'd asked me yesterday, would I prefer Lukaku or Morata, I would say Morata. And I think if you ask me now, I would be, you know, time's a great healer. And I think my mind has come round to the fact that we will sign Lukaku now. So I do want it to happen. I'm getting updates all the time. Alex has just messaged me saying that Chelsea have matched Lukaku's offer. Big breaking news. I don't know. I'm just writing back to him. But, you know, yeah, I'd be disappointed if it fell apart now, because I think as fans, you collectively, I've said collectively a lot tonight, haven't I? I need a new word. You know, most of us will have been a bit unsure about Lukaku, but now we know he's coming. We want him. It's a bit like Morata at the start of the summer. I was a little bit unsure, but then I look around, I look at it, and I think, you know what, that's a good deal for United. So, and I was disappointed when it collapsed. I think if Lukaku's deal collapsed now, I'd be disappointed because I've sort of, I trust Mourinho to sort out his issues, and he would be a good signing. Gavin Johnson, I'm not changing my mind. If you actually watch the videos, you'll know I've not changed my mind about Lukaku. I have my concerns about him, but as I said yesterday, trust Jose, and they are issues that could be sorted out. He wouldn't have been my first choice. But now I want it to happen. Sammy Platt's Barmy Army says Jordan Steeborn. They've shut it down now, haven't they? Which is a shame. Hurry up and sign Lukaku, says Paul Clayton. Mohammed says sell Fellaini, buy Fabinho. Looks like Matuidi's going to Juventus. Even if we buy 5 players, no point of transfers if we don't buy a CDM. It would be a disaster. And Breach69 quite rightly says if Chelsea match the offer, it's down to Lukaku. There obviously isn't something that a lot of people thought there was as well, which was first refusal for Chelsea because they sold him to Everton. So I think that is, I thought that might be a factor. Oh my God. Trecorista says I look like a young Quentin Tarantino now. I think your eyes play tricks with you because you watch me every night at 8:30. You start to see things that aren't there. Paul Robinson says, Mark, do you think this smacks of a little desperation as he's not first choice? I think it does. I think the Lukaku deal does smack of desperation, but I don't think it's actually that unusual. And I think, you know, we all know Morata's first choice was United, and we all know that Lukaku's first choice was Chelsea. But football's dynamic and it changes all the time. And when United are faced by Real Madrid, basically trying to bleed us dry, I agree with us walking away. I wanted Morata. I feel sorry for Morata, but I agree with us walking away. And when you walk away, where do you go? You look around the platform and you go, you know, Mourinho's obviously got his concerns about Belotti. He clearly never wanted Aubameyang. He can't get a Cardi even if he wants him. Lukaku, Premier League proven. Raiola, very close to United. Little phone call, any chance? Yes, there is. If you give me enough money, we can do it. Right, forget Morata, plan B, let's get Lukaku. So, of course it's a panic buy. If it doesn't come off, we look really stupid. If it comes off, then I think that's football, it's dynamic. How long do you wait around for Real Madrid? You've got to move on. This is a good question from Michael Adams, and I really want to get. And Jordan Thompson says, what sources in England are reliable? As I said to you over the last few nights, I never thought I'd be saying this because he writes for The Sun. Although I have met him a couple of times. I've had a good couple of conversations with him, to be honest. Neil Custis from The Sun has been spot on this week. Absolutely spot on 3 times. So at the moment, he's probably the most reliable UK journalist in relation to Manchester United. I mean, Dimarzio is very good. And then there are a few others. But at the moment, Neil Custis is spot on, if you want it at the moment. Right, what in your answer to this question from Michael Adams? He says, who would you sign from the Premier League other than Lukaku, realistic choice as a striker? And I think, you know what, that is a question that I can't really move away from Lukaku with any conviction. I mean, Harry Kane is a good shout, but as you'll know, I'm not a massive Harry Kane fan anyway. Certainly no more than Lukaku. I think the same problems with Kane exist that I have with Lukaku. I think Kane's a bit goes quiet most of the time against United. I know he scored last season, but that wasn't our first choice defence. His first touch isn't great either, but he scores a lot of goals. So I think Kane and Lukaku you could probably put on a level footing. Aguero plays for City, so I wouldn't want him. Diego Costa, he's good, but I'd rather have Lukaku if I'm honest. Spurs did okay. Wouldn't want Vardy. Chelsea, Liverpool, no, there's no one for no. So you know what? Yeah, probably is. Sanchez, Alexis Sanchez is a good shout actually. Paul Robinson and Josh Hayes. I've heard a little bit about Sanchez to United this week actually. I don't think it will happen, but you know, you always start to notice things. Finn Douglas says he's got a theory that this Lukaku business is just a ploy to lower Morata's price and make Chelsea pay more for Lukaku. I hope we buy Morata. Finn Douglas. I tell you what. It's like that would be like a plot for a film if that happens. That's why I just don't think it will happen. But if it did happen, it would be very funny. Bavashan says that Mourinho said he wants 4 more signings after Lukaku. Well, I don't know where you're getting that from, but if it's true, great. The good thing about the US tour is, as I said last night, is that Mourinho will be getting interviewed a lot more. So we'll start to pick up a little bit more about transfers, which is good because he's not officially spoken to the press for about 6 weeks, has he? Aston K28, great question again. If the Lukaku deal collapses, what do we do? If the Lukaku deal collapses, we're in trouble. 1, we look really stupid. 2, we can't go back for Morata and pay what Real Madrid want now. I think we'd have to go and panic buy, but panic buy in a sensational way. I think we'd have to sort of go to Inter Milan and say, give us a Cardi for 90 million or something like that. There isn't really many, or maybe go to Spurs and say there's 120 million for Harry Kane. I mean, I wouldn't agree with that, but that we would be forced into doing something like that. Zach MU says United will announce it tonight now, surely, to shut up all the rumours. Good point, Zach. Yep, Chelsea have matched the offer, says Mark Woods. Yeah, for those who are joining us a little bit late, Chelsea have apparently matched Manchester United's offer for Lukaku. I think that's a very good point there, that if we have got the deal done, we need to sort of announce it pretty quick, don't we? Because Manchester United, the club, I mean, because we're all fans and there's a few people who'll be getting nervous on their Friday night at the start of a weekend. We don't want to ruin the weekend, so announce it, United. If it's done, announce it. Don't wait for, you know, the optimum moment. Don't mess around with Manchester United's fans' emotions. Get it announced. Or the flip is, it's not announced because it's still up in the air. Let's wait and see. I think he'll come to United for whatever that means, but I do. Lord Fellaini says that Lukaku loves Chelsea, so he will go there. Teko's just said, do you remember the Cole and York partnership? Found an awesome video of their duo goals. I do remember it, obviously, but one good point I would like to make is that the last... if we sign Lukaku, he's not the first player that we've signed with a bad first touch. Andy Cole's first touch was pretty bad when he signed for Manchester United, and look how that went. I actually had somebody today saying that Andy Cole never had a bad first touch, and I think, well, have you watched videos or were you actually around when Andy Cole played? He scored a lot of goals for Newcastle, much the same as Lukaku scored a lot of goals for Everton. But his build-up play was pretty poor. He had a very good player behind him in Peter Beardsley. And when he came to United, he was scoring goals, but actually the first few months were quite frustrating and people were getting a bit annoyed with him, people like Cantona and Mark Hughes, because his build-up play was not that good. But he worked at it really hard and he never became excellent, but he certainly got a lot better than he was when he signed. So it can be resolved and hopefully he will resolve it at Manchester United. Rodriguez or Nainggolan, says Melic. It's a very good question. Live comments, please. Answer that. Rodriguez or Nainggolan. I think I'd go Nainggolan just because I think we need... Well, I know we need a really good midfielder. So, yeah, I would go Nainggolan. Which is funny because I think most fans of most clubs would be quite shallow and go they want Rodriguez because he's the star. But I think United fans have that depth to understand that actually we need a real combative midfielder to free Pogba and make us a better side. So I would go Nainggolan. Oh, here we go. This is a good one, is here. Goku Watches Arsenal says, if you were to pick a striker, Belotti, Lukaku and Morata, who would you pick? You know what? I won't lie. I'm going to be happy with Lukaku. But if I had a choice between those three, I would still go Belotti, Morata, Lukaku. There's not a massive difference between them, but if you're asking me to rank them, I would go Belotti, Morata, Lukaku. Belotti's only had one good season, but I've seen enough of him that I think he's going to be one of the best strikers in the world in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'll eat my shoes if I'm wrong. Morata, I think, suits us better because he's got more attributes than Lukaku, i.e. he's got good build-up play and I feel he's got more experience than Lukaku on the bigger stage. And Lukaku's a very good player. I'm happy for Lukaku, but I would go with those three. Why don't we go for Renato Sanchez, says Talat Chowdhury. Well, we may well do it. We don't know. What formation will we use if we sign Rodriguez? Well, we've got to do that first. And Tyrone Williams says Lukaku's first touch is as weak as Amir Khan's chin. And Abdul says opinion on Dybala if Lukaku snubs us. I don't think we'll get Dybala. Desperation from Chelsea. Lukaku is definitely coming to United. Take the L, Chelsea. Stick it on Conte's office door. I'm going to tweet that, Shane Harding. I think it's a really funny tweet. It will make a very good tweet. Yeah, I think it does come across as desperation from Chelsea, but maybe they might have had a little nod that it's worth doing it. One way or another, whoever doesn't get Lukaku is going to look a bit silly. Chelsea will, obviously, because they had it in the palm of their hand and they've let it slip and they've tried again and they've been mugged off. Or United have tried to, you know, do Real Madrid over with Morata and snip in and hijack a deal. And if it doesn't work, it's you know, it's a bit like trying to nick some sweets from the sweet shop and running into a copper on your way out, isn't it? You look very silly if you get caught out. So we'll have to wait and see. Get Fabinho. Is the Telegraph credible? Says Ayub of Fire. They're not bad. 50-50, I would say. Lukaku needs space. He does. Don't want Hamed, says Wan White. Who do you think we should sell? Says Lewis Taylor. Well, I want to start talking about who we should sell. But at the moment, we know Mourinho's a buy first, sell later. We need to start signing some players before we can make decisions about who we're going to sell. And we do need to sell a centre-back. Will Lukaku press from the front, says Spinblade. Yeah, to be fair to Lukaku, he is a good first line of defence. I don't think you'd have a problem with Belotti, Morata or Lukaku. All three of them will press from the front. So and you need that in the modern game. I do know that Nainggolan's nearly 30, Marty McDonald, yes. Sing the song again, please, says Prajwell. I don't know what song you're on about. If it's the one from the transfer show this morning, I do, but you can go and watch it there. Just go and watch it again. Nainggolan has moved to a centre attacking midfielder. Yeah, we know about that. Janusai's back in training marks. Thoughts, says Prince Sharma. He's got to go. Lukaku. Janusai has got to go. 100%. We've got to get rid of him. Who's the next captain, says Jay. My understanding is that it'll be Carrick vice captain and Herrera vice captain and Carrick captain, which basically means that Carrick is the club captain and Herrera will be captain. Ross has just messaged me saying that I bet he guarantees that United have actually leaked that news that Chelsea have matched the bid to make the Lukaku deal even better when they announce it. Which is, you know, that's how it works in the media sometimes. A story like that is leaked to make a deal look even better for United. Yeah. I've just had a tweet from Andy to say that he got the message for his wife Debbie, which is great. I'm glad she got it. And as I said before, and as everyone said in the messages, to be fair, I hope you get well soon and keep watching, and we'll sort that T-shirt out. Just message Drawty, and we'll get one to you. United have just tweeted 2 minutes ago off the main account about the key dates for the US tour. I don't think that means they're going to be announcing the signing anytime soon. You know, it doesn't mean it won't happen in a couple of hours, but they don't normally tweet and then follow it up with another tweet very quickly. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Really, really interesting. People talking about Andy Murray. Don't want to talk about him. Good. Good. Impressive. Most impressive. Little bit of an update on Fabinho. This is quite recent, and it is Monaco refuse second offer for PSG for Fabinho. So PSG are cracking on, trying to get Fabinho done. United, I wish we would do as well. And it's all starting on social media. I suggest you get on there if you're on there. There's a lot of anti-Woodward stuff because people are believing that Chelsea might nick him. Oh, I'm quite relaxed. I'm relaxed. I think he will sign. Somebody just said there, Manchester United will know that the United stand is live, so they'll probably announce it while we're live. I hope they don't, because when I stop I can go live again when they do sign him. But when maybe we will be live. Just all I would say is make sure you subscribe to the United Stand, and if you are subscribed, click the bell, because we're going live a lot over the summer, and we certainly will go live when he signs, and it could be any time. So you know, I would predict if it's going to be tonight around 10:30. So we'll see if we're back live then. Very good. Lukaku's not confirmed. Tech Hollow TV. Stop trying to be clever. Fabinho will come from Monaco, says Hossan. I don't know. PSG are obviously well in for him. Definitely in for him. Right. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm confident we'll get Lukaku. Let's just see what happens. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And we'll react to it and we'll talk about it. But at the moment, I would be relaxed. He's with Pogba. Loads of people have basically said it's going to happen. He was having his medical last night. I would be 90% sure that it's going to happen. I think this Chelsea news is probably just a late little bit of smokescreen from either United or Chelsea. Chelsea says to say that he's gone for United for money, or United to make it look like a decent deal. But we'll see what happens. Thanks for everybody for watching. And yeah, good. Lukaku will be a flop, says David Bernardi, and Martial for number 9. Let's see what happens. I reckon we'll be live again in a couple of hours, so probably see you then very soon. I just want to say a big shout out to Craig, and thanks everybody for watching, and I will be maybe back with you later. If not, Transfer Daily moves from 7 o'clock to 11 AM on a weekend, so it'll be 11 o'clock tomorrow live with the Transfer Daily. Have a good weekend. Hopefully you'll be joining us later or in the morning, and just relax, enjoy your weekend, and I'm sure he will end up coming to Manchester United. Speak to you all very soon.